Hi, I'm Dr. James Scott Jr., and thank you for joining me here at California Business Center, Suite 100 here in Fairfield, California. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes of your time so I can share with you a fantastic vision that we have for a new ministry called the Scott Free Clinic. Imagine with me, if you will, your pastor being able to say to your entire congregation or to the entire community, if you are struggling in your marriage, if your family is broken and hurting, if you're struggling with depression, anxiety, stress, or whatever the issues of life might be putting on you, that there is now some help that you can get without the barrier of cost, and it's called the Scott Free Clinic. Well, let me share with you the vision. Really, our vision is to launch an independent, nonprofit parachurch ministry that provides counseling, coaching, and consulting both to individuals and churches internationally. And our mission is simple. It is to help people become whole persons in Christ and to help churches become effective disciple-making churches. That's our entire dream right there. Our services are this. As we launch this, our goal is to focus on offering comprehensive clinical pastoral counseling, coaching, also couple communication, some fitness consulting because sometimes that physical aspect needs to come into play, as well as pastor care. That's counseling for both vocational and bivocational pastors, and consulting with churches. So there's a spectrum, a whole way that we can help people from just needing some coaching to some real clinical counseling help to be able to come into the clinic and get whatever help that they need. Our goal is to be able to move into the location behind me and turn it into a clinic setting and to be able to offer these services. So why don't you come with me inside? Let's get a better idea of really what we can offer, how we can offer it, and what it's all gonna look like. Come with me. All right, so let's come on in and take a look at the area that we want to turn into the Scott Free Clinic. You'll need to do just a little imagining. When I first came here a few months ago and looked at the site, it didn't have anything in it. They've stored a few things in here. They won't be in here, and we'll move it all out. This is a significant counseling area here. And the reason being that we need some space, because not only will I be working with individuals in this area, but we will also have couples, as well as we need to fit families, small groups, and teams in here. So we really need to have the space to be able to do that. Not only in a safe environment, but we want this to be an extremely comfortable environment. We want to make it feel like you're in your best friend's living room. People can come in here, get comfortable, open up their lives, and make some changes. Over here, we're going to get more intense. And this area is where we're going to be doing our intensive therapy. So we'll have a chair and some material for the counselor, as well as a couple of key chairs where we're going to get our couples very, very comfortable, very, very, very face-to-face, and do some of our most intense counseling over here, as well as having some area to do some couple communication counseling. I'm excited about the change in lives that's going to happen right here in this area. Down the hallway here and to the left is our office. And so in this area here, we're going to have a workspace back in this area, desks, bookshelves, filing cabinets, records, equipment, all of that here. And then right over in this area, we're going to have a table area because there are times where we need to have families, teams, groups doing some work at tables. So all of that's going to function right here, kind of the administrative area. Across the hallway, we have a little smaller room that I want you to see. And this is probably going to become our podcast studio. But we also have some other needs from even our fitness consulting. But it's a smaller area. It likely is going to be a place where we're going to put to use some technology so we can broaden our reach at being able to help folks and do some podcasting and some other work in this area. And last but not least, just down the hallway here is just a little simple area. We've got a sink. The nice thing is what comes with this office Our clients will check into a reception area. They'll be greeted by a receptionist, offered coffee and water. That's all a part of the process. They'll let us know someone's here. Got a water area, and then back in here, we'll put in a refrigerator so we can make sure that we've got water available for our guests, and we'll also have equipment back here as well as our record and file storage. So that's it. That's the Scott-free clinic, or the place where we have that dream, a place where we are looking forward to being able to help individuals, couples, families change their lives, and to help churches make great improvements. So let's take a couple minutes and talk with a couple folks about their real life stories of the counseling they've gone through with us to see what a difference it's made. I'm joined now by Leanne Gardner, and Leanne's an old friend. We've known each other for over 14 years. We both were kind of helping a church do a new startup, a plant. And you were a nurse, and you were doing hospice care at that time and pouring your heart out in that, I remember. You continue to be a nurse. And your mom as well.
Yep.
And when I met you, you were a concerned mom.
Yes.
There was something going on with your son. He was in his late teens. And why don't you share just a little bit with our viewers about what was happening?
He was 17.
Yeah.
And he didn't have the same friends that he'd always had. I didn't know any of his new friends. He was not doing well in school, which was unusual for him. He had a bad attitude. Thought he wasn't going to live past high school, so he didn't really need to apply himself.
And that's significant because when you've got a teenage son who's telling you, I don't think I'm going to live past high school, how did that make you feel?
Scared.
Yeah.
Panicked.
Yeah. So what did you do? What happened? What happened from that point?
I asked him, are you doing drugs? No, Mom, I'm just tired. And I knew in my gut that there was something really wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't know quite what it was.
Yeah. So what did you do?
I tried to get him to open up because we'd always been able to talk, and that was another thing. He wouldn't talk to me.
Yeah.
So then there was an event.
Which was?
I found my proof.
Yeah.
And I showed it to him.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, you're at a crossroads in your life. And you can do these drugs and you know where it's going to head.
Right.
And I won't enable you to do that. You have to get out. Or you can get some help.
Yeah.
And he was quiet. I says, think about it.
Yeah.
So he did, and the next morning he came to me and he says, Mom, I want some help. And so then I had to figure out, well, how I was going to get some help.
Right.
And I knew you did counseling.
Right.
And so I went to you.
Yeah.
I told you, I'm really concerned, I need help.
Right.
And you were great.
Well, I know we plugged him into that. Tell me about what did you see, and of course you weren't in on the sessions as he was working through that, but tell me about what you saw as he went through the process.
Okay. Well, first of all, I was grateful because I think you only charged me for the test that he had to take. You didn't charge me for it.
Right.
And I think it was the second meeting after he had with you. He said, Mom, I need to talk to you. And I said, okay. And he said, I have to tell you what I've been doing. And I was floored. It was worse than I even imagined.
Right.
And but he said, I'm done with it. I'm not doing any more, and I'm not going to do any more. And to this day, he won't touch a drug.
Yeah.
He will not. And
so he continued on.
yeah,
And what's been the outcome?
he won't touch drugs.
Yeah.
He's got a job,
Yeah.
and he's got a wife, and he's got a new baby,
Yeah, he's a
and
father
he's
for the first
happy.
time now.
And
I think he's involved with his church, isn't he?
he's very involved with his church. As a matter of fact, he is. I am proud of him. Can I share why I'm so
Sure,
proud of him?
absolutely.
Okay, he was living with this gal.
Yeah.
And he got under the conviction of the Holy Spirit. So unbeknownst to me, him and his girlfriend, they got married in December and didn't tell anybody because they still wanted to have the wedding.
Yeah.
Then she wound up pregnant after they were married.
Right.
So that was a miracle too. So he's doing great.
Yeah.
He's sound mind, he's sound body, and I can only thank God and you. You are the vessel, and I have two sisters who never came out of drugs.
Yeah.
And so I am so grateful because I know the path that it can take.
Yeah. And, people still make mistakes, but it's great to hear that, that the work that he did to walk away from what was putting him in a pretty downward spiral, which he relied on Christ for, then changed his life. And, that really is the entire reason why the Scott Free Clinic is going to come into existence, is to help people change their lives. And one of the things that we are going to do, it's foundational to this ministry, is the Scott Free Clinic. The idea is that all of our services, no matter what they are, no matter what a person's capacity to do anything is there will be no charges. We want to eliminate that barrier of cost so that people like your son, a 17-year-old can't pay the bills, and most families with 17-year-olds can't handle that cost either. So what do you imagine if we're able to open our doors up to families like that and say, listen, there's no charge, just come and get the help? How do you think that could impact families?
Immensely. You're going to keep families together. You're going to keep them out of psych wards. You're going to keep them out of prisons. You're going to keep them out of depression. You're going to keep them walking with the Lord.
And of course, it does come down to they've got to want the help.
This is true.
Yeah, and the great thing with your son is he had come to that place between you challenging him and the challenge that we made to him. He stepped up and wanted to make the change. If you want help and can remove those barriers of help, lives can be changed. That's what we're hoping to do at Scott Free Clinic.
I think it would be a blessing to everybody that walked through those doors.
Well, Leanne, I really appreciate your coming today and sharing your story, your son's story, and Lord willing, and the help of our viewers, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to open those doors to families so that they can get the help they need. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, we've stepped away just for a few minutes from the clinic office, and we've gone down the street to visit with Chad Ward. And Chad, it's been several years since we first met. Been a while since I've seen you.
Quite a few years.
Yeah. And when I met you, you were a youth pastor, and you've gone on since then. You've served as an elder, and you are now continuing to be involved in your church, and a lot going on. But you were a younger guy. You were fresher in your marriage, and you didn't have any kids when we first met. But you did have a challenge, and so I was wondering if you'd just share a little bit from why we connected there a long time ago.
Okay. Well, originally when we first came to see you, I was in pretty good distress. My wife had just told me that she didn't want to be married to me anymore.
Yeah.
And here I am, a pastor, and I'm counseling students, and all of a sudden my own marriage is failing, and I thought maybe my job was on the line, all this stuff. And
what did you think? Because it's kind of a bit of a gut punch, and I remember your wife saying, I don't know if I want to be married to him. When you heard that, how did that affect you initially?
I was flattened. I mean, the woman that I loved didn't want to be with me anymore, and I didn't know how to handle it.
How long had you been married at that time?
We've been married probably 4, maybe 5 years.
Yeah. Go ahead and...
So we, after coming to you, we just realized the huge thing we were missing in our marriage. Well, two things. One is I had thrown my entire life into my ministry, and so I had spent all the time I had with all the students at the church and with the people of the church, and meanwhile she was at home waiting for me to get home.
Yeah.
And so it's just incredibly hard for her to go through that. Also, we didn't talk. I mean, we talked. We talked about our day, but one of the things you said always stuck to me. He goes, well, it's amazing that two people can live in the same house and not have the same life. And it's that we were going parallel. We weren't connecting with each other. And I think that's one of the greatest tools that I learned from you was emotional communication.
Yeah.
It's not just talking, but finding out what's going on in the heart and mind of your partner.
Yeah. And I know that you struggled. I remember the look on your face as the pain that you were going through. But you worked through that. Why don't you just share just a little bit about how you worked through it? How did you come through that and get to the other side?
Well, there's a lot of crying. I'm not afraid to admit that I cried a lot.
Sure.
But then also just a lot of really intense and awkward and hard conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to sit and listen to my wife tell me the reasons why she didn't want to be with me.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
And we just started listening to each other and started really talking to each other and hearing what was going on in the heart of the other person. And through, I mean, it wasn't quick. It was a while.
It's work.
Yeah.
It is work.
I mean, I can remember just going, when is this going to be over?
Right.
And it took a while.
Yeah.
But I also remember the day that my wife told me that she wanted to be married to me again.
Yeah.
And I remember that day very specifically because we were in your office and you asked her the question and she said yes.
Yeah.
Because for a while she said, yeah, I want to because I'm a Christian woman. I know that's the right thing to do.
Yeah. There was a duty attached to it.
But then when she made the choice, you know, after us connecting to want to again,
Yeah.
it was like I got married all over again.
Yeah.
And so,
And you kind of did in the sense of you've come a long way.
yeah.
Your wife wouldn't say anything along those lines anymore. You've been married quite a while, and you now have, from my understanding, 4 kids. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're coming up on 16 years
Right.
together, and we have 4 children. You know, we had a rough patch in the middle, but the last one's it's just been amazing, and our lives are continuing to grow together. We do have 4 children.
In your marriage?
I would put it up against any marriage out there. Not that you should compare marriages,
Understand.
but just the fact that
Right.
you know the strength that has come from developing our relationship,
Right.
and what I call being a student of my spouse,
Right.
is just you know, when you come from a place that says I don't want to be with you, that's pretty much the rock bottom.
Yeah.
And so if you can come back from that, then I think that you can handle anything in life. And that's how we approach life now. Is like we still have rough times. We still argue and fight over different things. But our always fallback is this can't be worse.
Right.
So we got to be able to fix it.
Right.
And so we do. We just go from there. When you come past that and know that it can work and that God can heal anybody, no matter how desperate your situation,
Right.
it gives you so much more power to go forward and to live life and to kind of move past the little things that come up, because we still fight.
Sure.
And we still have arguments, and
You're still human.
yeah,
Right.
they're not knockdown drag-outs anymore.
Right.
But they are still, you know, heartfelt.
Are you afraid those words, I don't want to be married to you anymore, will ever come again?
No, and I hesitate only because I also deal with insecurity in my life in a whole different way.
Right.
And I think that sometimes, you know, past history, Satan will try to use that against you. But
And scare you?
yeah, but I know that my wife and I will never be at that place again.
Yeah. That's exciting. You did say something that probably made things more difficult for you. It's one thing for any man to be told by their wife, I don't want to be married to you anymore. It is kind of another thing when you're a minister and you're feeling like I'm living in this fishbowl. People are looking at my life. I'm supposed to be putting an example out there. And now you see that example going south because you mentioned, here you are as a minister and you're trying to have that example. How did that add pressure to what was going on in your life?
Well, that was probably the most tremendous addition, because for me, not understanding, being a minister and the church culture, sometimes you're looked at as you have to be at a higher level than other people. Not that we are.
Right.
We're just people.
Perfect people.
But we're a bunch of imperfect people. Tried to live perfectly, but the fact that you have other people that look up to you. In my case, I had students. Here I have 50, 60 students at the church that look up to me and want to see, and I'm supposed to be an example of how their life can work.
Right.
And just honestly, when she first said she didn't want to be married, I was afraid, because I was afraid that, one, the church would fire me, because who wants a minister that's can't even hold his own marriage together?
Right.
And two, just that all these people would be disappointed by me.
So you must have felt as though it wasn't just your marriage falling apart, it was your life.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a fear for everything that I knew.
Yeah.
I will say this, the church did not fire me.
Right.
In fact, they went the opposite direction.
Yeah.
And we have a wonderful church body, and they came, supported us, surrounded us,
Right.
and helped us in every way imaginable.
Right.
So
Chad, let's talk about a couple different things. The Scott Free Clinic the idea is let's remove the barrier of cost. There's so many couples out there who need help, so many families who need help. One of the primary reasons why they do not get that help is they can't afford it. Most people just can't afford to go get marriage counseling or family counseling or the help to save their marriages and their homes and those most important things in life. You've experienced a couple different things. You've experienced personally a time where, hey, I need help. But also, I know as a youth minister and as an elder, you've seen marriages in trouble. You've seen homes. You've seen families that were broken and hurting. How can this help? How can this be a help to them? And what would you say to the men out there who are hurting and haven't gotten help, and the dads and the moms out there?
Well, first off, I just think the fact that you're offering it as scot-free is an incredible help, because I know for us, I was a minister and I didn't make very much money.
Right.
We were living in a little tiny apartment and we didn't have the money. And so thanks to your generosity in our situation, we were able to make it happen. Right. But I know a lot of families, one is if you've never been through any kind of counseling, you don't see the value of it.
Right.
And now I even tell people to try to emphasize what the value of a godly counseling is that I would sell everything that I had if it would save my marriage through godly counseling again. Right. And so I think that people don't understand the value. They don't understand what the power is, and money is a huge barrier in our society. Right. And so if they come up against that, it's almost an automatic no for some people. Right. And they I can't ever emphasize enough the power that it has, because you're a man, and I know that, but the tools that you gave us saved our marriage. Yeah. God gave you an ability to give us tools to help us through the roughest time of our life. Right. And if people could only know that that's on the other side of the fence, that it doesn't have to be desperation all the time. Right. That's why this is such a great opportunity.
There really is hope, even though it feels hopeless.
Yes. Yeah. And I think some people get caught up in this spiral of negativity, right, that they can't see that there's a way out.
Yeah. I do remember, when we talked a couple of years ago, I think it was, you mentioned something about you and your wife took some of what we went through and you've shared it some with other couples. Is that?
Well, being an elder at the church, I've also had the opportunity to sit with some couples in our church that just were having a rough time. And some of the tools that you've given us, we actually kept our binder of all the papers, and we would take them out. I hope there's no copyrights, but we would take them out and kind of walk with them through it, and we were able to help a couple of families get through some harder times.
Yeah. That's great, and I think that speaks really a lot to you and your wife in that, it isn't what you've been helped, and now you're sharing that help with others. So that's fantastic. Chad, thank you so much for taking your time to not just have us in your home, but to share your story with our viewers. We appreciate you passing that on and for having us in your home.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. I'm joined now by Jamie Swearingen, and Jamie is one of our members for their board of directors. And Jamie is a mom, a busy mom, because you also do some homeschooling. You're married. You're also a part-time teacher with the school district, and so you've got a lot going on, and that's part of what attracted me to having you consider being a part of our ministry here, because it represents those busy moms out there, those parents who are trying to raise their kids and have a family and do all the things that they need to do for their kids, and they know all of those pressures of life and those struggles and those challenges. So I appreciate that you can kind of help represent those families on our board members, as a board member. And so I asked you to pray about becoming a part of our leadership team. And as I did that, when you took that time and prayed about whether or not God would have you go in this direction, what were some of the thoughts that you were having? What was it that attracted you and led you to making the commitment to serve on our board?
Well, Scotty, in the beginning, as a new mom, I found myself in the position of being a nurturer and a caregiver and a leader in my family, and that was great. But there's times when a mom needs nurturing and care. And I was able to find that through girlfriends and moms groups and things like that, that we were able to pray for one another and help one another in the process of parenting our children. And then as I'm praying for our pastors in the community, I realized that they also need somebody to come alongside them in their journey. They are spiritual leaders, always on call, reaching out to their flock. And yet I think that they need support as well. And so,
Sure. And for you, that wasn't just theoretical, right? Because from my understanding, you know some pastors personally who are personal friends of yours.
yes, I do. Several pastor friends.
What are some of the things that you see pastors struggle with as people?
Well, if you're in the position of helping others,
Right.
sometimes it's hard to receive help.
Right.
Or you have so many responsibilities, and the pastor doesn't just work 9 to 5, as you know.
Right.
They're out there in the community and they're helping people. They might get that call at 11:30 at night. That takes away from their family times as well.
Right.
So for them to have someone for them to lean on or to come alongside for them and somebody to help coach them with time management and things that they need to help manage their families as well as their
And it goes a little deeper than that. Let's kind of actually highlight that for the folks. Part of one of our services that we'll be offering is pastor care. And pastor care offers care for those who are serving in what we call vocational ministry or bivocational. It's not just for the senior pastor. It's also for associates and anyone serving full-time or part-time in ministry. Part of the key is sometimes if they just sit down with a friend, that's going to be enough. That's what they will need. And we encourage you to get to know and befriend and pray for and support your pastors. But it goes beyond that too. Pastor care does offer clinical counseling and clinical care for pastors. So it's a place where they can come in and really get some strong, even clinical level support for themselves. Safe place, a place where they know they can go to talk to not just someone coming from a clinical side of it, but with my experience, I've been pastoring now for almost 29 years, someone who's been there and done that, also who can understand a pastor, but also can provide some clinical care for them as well, helping them with their marriages, their families, and those struggles that really tend to be burdens on a pastor. So that was kind of the heart of it for you?
Yes, that was.
All right.
All right.
Well, Jamie, we're excited that you're a part of the board. We're excited that we have an opportunity to do something like pastor care is just one of our services. And we're going to, I think, have a great opportunity to support a whole lot of folks out there who are serving in the church.
That's terrific.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. I hope in our time together today, you've seen the great vision of the possibility of really being able to change thousands of lives of individuals, couples, and families, and being able to support pastors and to help multiple churches become more effective churches. But we can't do that alone. We can't do that without you. And we need your help, and we need it in a few different ways. There's a few things that you can do. First of all, we need your prayer support. This entire ministry was birthed in prayer, is coming together in prayer, and can only be sustained by prayer. And we would appreciate it if you would pray for the Scott Free Clinic every day. The other thing is as we launch this ministry, you're connecting people who are in need of help to the clinic will help change their lives. So just connecting people will be a very real way that you can help people change what is broken and hurting in their lives. And then, in order to do this, we need the resources to do it. And our goal is to eliminate that cost barrier and to be able to provide these services based on support from men and women who have captured the vision of helping others and build that sponsorship base so that we can offer all of these resources. It's going to take a lot. And just to be very direct with you, in launching this, we'll have to commit to the first 2 to 3 years of a lease here. In that, then we're going to have all of our startup costs, and we're going to have the operating budget to make those first 2 to 3 years work. During that time, we can build a sponsorship base. But in order to have that start, our bottom need is $300,000 and our target is $450,000. But we do know that God has given us this vision. Many, many lives can be changed, pastors can be supported, churches can be helped, and some way God is going to provide for that. Of course, the way that he usually does that is through his people. And so for those of you who have gotten an idea of this ministry, maybe it's captured your heart, I would just ask you to pray about if you can support us in any way. It might be becoming a sponsor. It might be giving a donation each month to help support our ongoing operation. Maybe it's something once a quarter, once every couple of times a year, or maybe once annually. Anything that you can do to support us will be a tremendous blessing, not only to us, but a direct contribution to helping other people being able to get the help that they need. There are a few ways you can do that. You can go online. Since we haven't launched yet, I'm very happy to say that Hope Christian Church here in Fairfield, California is serving as our fiscal sponsor. So they have a fund that has been open for the Scott-Free Clinic, and everything you give is tax deductible. You can go online to hopechristianchurch.net, and on the far right side is a button for donations. You can fill that out. Make sure that you fill in the box that says designation. Just write in Scott-Free Clinic, and anything that you designate for the Scott-Free Clinic will come directly to support this ministry. You can also mail a check or mail a gift to Hope Christian Church at the address of 149 Grobric Court here in Fairfield, California, and just designate on the memo part of your check, Scott-Free Clinic, and anything given to that will come again directly to this ministry. If you have any questions, you can contact me. Just drop me an email at drscottyjr@gmail.com. That's drscottyjr @gmail.com, drscottyjr.com. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for the encouragement that so many of you have already given us. Thank you for joining us in prayer. If you can help us financially to get this going, we thank you for even considering it and praying about it. And I pray that that this vision is something that is exciting you, because if you have those personal needs where we can help you, we want you to get a hold of us as soon as we're able to launch, and we want to be able to help you change your life. God bless you.